Welcome to Gnome on the Roam story time. Hi everyone, it's Miss Diane from the Kinsman Free Public Library. Today I'm in a pumpkin patch. We're at Innocenti's pumpkin patch off of State Street in Kinsman, and I'm going to read a few pumpkin stories for you today. So the first story I'm going to share with you today is all about how pumpkins grow. This series is called See It Grow, Pumpkin by Jackie Lee. Pumpkins in the fall are everywhere. They're round and orange. How did they get that way? Pumpkins can be different sizes. Some are as small as tennis balls and others are as big as washing machines. That is a big pumpkin. Every pumpkin starts out as a seed. When the seed is in the soil, it starts to grow. First, roots reach downward. Then a shoot pokes up out of the ground. A plant's roots take in the water and nutrients from the soil. Soon, two little leaves appear. They're called seed leaves. Next to the two new leaves start to form, they're called the true leaves. Leaves use sunlight to help make food for the plant. As the days go by, more leaves form and the plant grows along the ground. It's called a vine. A pumpkin vine can grow 30 feet long. Soon these yellow flowers appear on the vine. Some flowers have something round at the bottom. It's a baby pumpkin, right here. The pumpkin starts to grow when the flower dies. The baby pumpkin gets bigger and bigger, and soon it's the size of a baseball, and after a while it starts to turn orange. The pumpkin keeps getting bigger. It becomes orange all over, and now it's ripe. Many pumpkins can grow on one vine. So what do people do with ripe pumpkins? What do you do with them? Do you eat them? Do you carve them? Some cut them open and remove the seeds. Here we have a jack-o'-lantern. Here we have pumpkin pie, one of my favorites. What else can you do with the seeds? You can save a few and plant them yourself next year and grow your own pumpkins. So pumpkins are a type of squash, and they grow in places with warm summers and cool fall winters. The world's biggest pumpkin weighs more than 1,000 pounds. Not all ripe pumpkins are orange. Pumpkins can also be white, pale green, or even blue. There are many varieties and many kinds. I hope you come out and pick a pumpkin. At Innocenti's pumpkin patch, you can see there are many different kinds of pumpkins. We have our white pumpkins here, our Cinderella pumpkins over here. Maybe they'll turn into carriages. We have pie pumpkins back here. This is where your canned pumpkin comes from. And we have our carving pumpkins in the back. The story that I'm going to share with you is called Pumpkin Trouble by Jan Thomas. In this story, we have a duck and his friends in a pumpkin patch. Duck is so excited. This will be great, he says. I can't wait to show Pig and Mouse my jack-o'-lantern. They'll be so surprised. Just one last seed inside. Oops, uh-oh, what happened to Duck? He fell inside the pumpkin and he can't get out. This isn't good. Can anyone help me? He cries. Pig, Mouse, are you there? Hello, says the pumpkin. Ugh, it's the pumpkin monster, says Mouse and Pig. And they start to run away. Duck says, a pumpkin monster? Where? It's running around frantically with a pumpkin on his head. "Oh no, it's chasing us! It's chasing us! Help!" says the duck. "Quick, hide behind the barn," says Mouse and Pig. "What barn?" says the duck. And then he runs right into it. Pig and Mouse think he has captured the pumpkin monster. "Duck," they say, looking surprised. "He battled the pumpkin monster and won," said the Mouse. "Hooray!" "I'll make a jack-o'-lantern to celebrate," said Duck. "I wish Duck were here to see his great jack-o'-lantern. Hey, where's Duck?" "Uh-oh. Can I get a little help here?" he says. What a silly story about a duck and some pumpkin trouble. A pumpkin for Peter, a Peter Rabbit tale. Late one afternoon, the rabbits were all getting ready to pick out a Halloween pumpkin from Mr. Bunny. Although Peter knew that Mr. Bunny grew the best pumpkins, he would much rather stay at home in the cozy burrow than walk through the woods. Peter and his sisters followed Mrs. Rabbit. It was getting darker and darker, and the warmth of the burrow seemed very far away. Then Peter heard clattering and rattling up above, but it was just the wind in the trees. Peter trembled as he felt something soft touch his arm, but it was just Cottontail's paw reaching up to take his own. Suddenly, Peter saw a spooky shadow on the ground. "Ooh, ooh," it said. But he looked up and saw it was only Old Brown, the owl, flying through the trees. "Are we nearly there yet?" said Flopsy. "Is it getting darker?" asked Mopsy. "You're not frightened, are you?" said Peter Cottontail. Peter never seemed frightened. Snap! Something made a noise and all the bunnies jumped. "Hello?" called out Mrs. Rabbit. No one was there. "Hello?" called Mrs. Rabbit again, a little louder this time. Suddenly, there was a rustling sound close by. The rustling got louder and louder, and someone crashed through the undergrowth and headfirst into them all. "Hello!" came a jolly voice. That was a bit of a bump, wasn't it? It was Mrs. Bunny and his son Benjamin. "Hello! We're just on our way to pick our pumpkin for Halloween," said Mrs. Rabbit, helping Mr. Bunny to his feet. "Ha!" laughed Benjamin. "We were bringing you a pumpkin pie." "It smells delicious," Mrs. Rabbit smiled. "Let's all go home for a pumpkin party." Peter Rabbit hopped along with Benjamin at his side, and the dark woods felt different now. The moonlight still made spooky shapes, but Peter knew that in the morning the shadows would be gone. A little while later, Peter was feeling very full of pie. "I'll come and pick out a pumpkin tomorrow," Peter said Benjamin. "We can all come with you if you like," said Mrs. Rabbit kindly. Peter wasn't frightened of walking in the dark anymore, but he nodded and smiled. After all, pumpkins are very heavy. This story is called Mrs. Mcmurphys Pumpkin by Rick Walton. Mrs. Mcmurphy lived by herself on a farm at the edge of the woods. Every morning she hushed her chickens, then sung to them as she fed them and gathered their eggs. Every morning she gave hay to the cows and scratched them behind their ears, and then told them to mind themselves while she milked. And every morning she slopped the pigs, smiled at them, and said, "If you break out of your pens today, you're bacon." Then she'd give them each a kiss and a pat. One morning, 4 days before Halloween, Mrs. Mcmurphy got up to gather eggs and found a large pumpkin with a wicked, wicked grin sitting in the hay by the front door. And the pumpkin said, "My mouth is here. I speak to you. When my teeth are here, I'll eat you." "Oh, no!" "What a sweet-looking pumpkin," said Mrs. Mcmurphy, "but pumpkins belong outside." And she carried that pumpkin out to the porch. So would I. 3 days before Halloween, Mrs. McMurphy got up to milk her cows and found a large pumpkin with a wicked, wicked grin and a crooked nose sitting on her sofa. And the pumpkin said, "My nose is here, I smell you. When my teeth are here, I'll eat you." "Morning is my work time," said Mrs. McMurphy. "Why don't you come back in the afternoon? We'll have cookies and milk." And she carried the pumpkin out and put him in the shed. 2 days before Halloween, Mrs. McMurphy went out to feed her pigs and found a large pumpkin with a wicked, wicked grin and a crooked nose and 2 pointy ears sitting in her kitchen doorway. And the pumpkin said, "My ears are here, I hear you. When my teeth are here, I'll eat you." "Oh, no." Now, she said, "let's remember our manners." And she took the pumpkin outside and set it floating down the river. On the day before Halloween, Mrs. McMurphy got up to clean her house and found a large pumpkin with a wicked, wicked grin and a crooked nose and 2 pointy ears and 2 mean eyes sitting on her kitchen counter. How did it get there? And the pumpkin said, "My eyes are here, I see you. When my teeth are here, I'll eat you." "What lovely eyes they are," she said, "but I'm afraid no one's allowed on my kitchen counter." And she put the pumpkin in a box and mailed it to the North Pole. That's really far away. But on Halloween morning, the pumpkin made its way back to Mrs. McMurphy's. She woke up to do her baking and found the large pumpkin with a wicked, wicked grin and a crooked nose and 2 pointy ears and 2 mean eyes and large, sharp teeth sitting on her stove. And the pumpkin said, "My teeth are here, I can bite you. It's time to eat you." "Oh," said Mrs. McMurphy, "we'll have to see about that." And that night, when ghosts and monsters and little princesses stopped at her door, Mrs. McMurphy fed them each a thick slice of warm, sweet... what do you think she's going to feed them? Pumpkin pie. And she doesn't have to worry about that pumpkin anymore. This is a pumpkin story by Wendell Miner called Pumpkinheads. Here's our pumpkin patch. October is almost here and it's time to pick a pumpkin. On Halloween, every pumpkin becomes a pumpkin head. Some are big and some are small. Some must float high in the sky. And some peek from windows and are kind of scary. And some go on a hayride. Some pumpkin heads pretend to be cowboys or snowmen or witches. Some pumpkin heads will greet for trick or treat. And some will scare the crows away. Pumpkin heads can be found in the strangest places. But no matter where you may find them, pumpkin heads of all shapes and sizes. Hope you have a happy Halloween.